Welcome back to Behind the Perfect Startup podcast. Today we have with us Davaughnu Banks, who is the founder of Envision Brand Marketing. Hello, Davaughnu. How are you today?
Hi, Arisha. I'm doing really well today. Thank you. It's Friday and looking forward to the weekend, but also always looking forward to Monday as well to get things back to business.
Oh, I love it. So, Davaughnu, would you please like to give a brief introduction about yourself and your Envision Brand Marketing?
Yes, my name is Davaughnu Banks, and I am the founder and chief marketing consultant at Envision Brand Marketing. I am focused on helping small and medium-sized businesses focus and define their brand and their marketing strategy. I have been in the advertising and marketing business for over 20 years, and it's very important for me to help small and medium-sized businesses really understand who they are as a brand and why they exist as a brand, and then putting that into a very specific strategy and a unique strategy for their brand to put into action. And I've developed a three-phased approach, which is called Dream, Purpose, and Action. And I take my brand partners through that and help them really seek out a short-term and long-term plan through that three-phased approach that is going to give them the best opportunity to attract their ideal customer to their brand, and do it with very specific steps and be strategic about it versus just going at it from a tactical perspective.
That sounds wonderful, Davaughnu. What inspired you to develop the idea, of Envision Brand Marketing?
What really inspired me was the hole I was seeing within the industry. I worked, like I said, in the advertising industry for over 20 years. And of those 20 plus years, 15 or 16 of those years, I worked in the corporate industry at primarily large agencies in different capacities, everything from brand marketing to media planning and buying, and really account management, sales, and really working with different size clients and seeing that the smaller or the medium-sized brands were not getting the same attention from the larger agencies or even the medium-sized agencies as far as their brand and marketing strategy, and they were getting B or C level services and it wasn't personalized. It wasn't personalized to their brand and understanding who their brand is. It was kind of a one size fits all. And so I really wanted to design an opportunity where I could be more personalized with small and medium-sized businesses, not only help them with their solutions from a marketing and brand perspective, but also help them understand the marketing arena, because it's such a large scope. When you say the word marketing, it means so many different things. And so I really wanted to focus on the strategy part of it.
So it's wonderful that you are looking out for these small and medium businesses. And I'm sure that they're really thankful for Envision Brand Marketing. So, Davaughnu, how did you find marketing? And I see that you're into a lot of different things. You're into sports and whatnot. So how did you finally land on to marketing? And what is it about marketing that you really like?
Yeah, I really like, I'm left and right brained. And so, when I first was younger, I thought, I wanted to be a veterinarian. I loved animals and really enjoyed being around animals and even insects and things of that nature. And then as I grew up, I started thinking about, what do I really want to be? And, I like to get into debates and things like that. I thought about joining the debate team, but I was so busy with sports and things like that. I never got into that, and thought, well, maybe I wanted to get into law. But I always had this fine arts background as well. So all throughout high school, I honed in on my fine arts. I can draw, I can paint, I can do all of these things. And I have a really creative mind as well as an analytical mind. And so I continue to look for and discover through my journey, what is it I really enjoy doing. And to be honest, I was watching Bright Lights, Big City, I think the movie's called, and with Michael J. Fox, and he was in the mail room, and he worked his way up through the mail room to this big ad agency. And when they first started talking about these ad agencies, and he was presenting, creative and things like that to win proposals. I'm like, this sounds really cool, and I need to think about this a little bit more. But when I got into college, I played sports in college. I played soccer, and I focused on my fine arts. I started to think about, what it is I wanted to do. And so I thought, well, maybe I want to be an art director or something like that in an agency. And so I pursued that. And along that pursuit, I ended up at an agency eventually in my career, and started talking to different people, art directors, because I started at the bottom, just like Michael J. Fox did at Bright Lights, Big City, and really found out that, once you get into the agency world as an art person, you really don't get to do the things that you want to do. You're really kind of pigeonholed to designing and doing things that the client or the agency wants you to do, and do it a certain way. You get to put your flavor on it, but not in the same way. And I really didn't like that, because I'm very open-minded and very creative person. And so I really wanted to have my footprint on it. And I'm like, so what are some other ways that I can do this? And that's when I started talking to other people about, media planning and buying and things of that nature. And I'm like, well, this could be interesting, because this kind of feeds into my left brain. And so I went down that path for a while, but also had the opportunity to be very creative and work with creative folks on the branding side of things as well. And so that really is what kind of, really directed my path, is really, diving into situations, but also asking questions along the way, and figuring out that, this was really the direction I wanted to go. And it's been a journey. I never had all the answers right away. It's just been a journey that has led me to where I am today.
So that's really inspiring. And it looks like you are a very creative person. And so I'm sure that your journey into brand marketing must not have been a very smooth journey. So what would you say were the challenges you first had to overcome to get where you are today?
Absolutely. Yeah. The biggest challenge was, I had been an entrepreneur before this. I actually was a DJ while I was working in the advertising industry at agencies. I had this passion for, DJing. I love music. Again, another creative part of me. And so I started DJing, and I created my own website, the whole deal. I did everything, bought all my equipment, and began DJing. And the timing of it wasn't great, because I was having a family at the same time. And so I was busy on the weekend and busy during the week doing my job. And so, but that really helped me to decide as an entrepreneur, timing, things of that nature, how to be creative, but also be a business person. And it really shaped me to do what I'm doing today. But the one thing I didn't experience while I was doing it as a DJ was partnering with other people. And so I didn't have that experience partnering with other folks. And that was the first hiccup when I started Envision Brand Marketing, was working with people who I can trust and that are going to deliver on their promise, right? And so I did partner early on in my, when I started Envision, and it just did not work out. The person didn't deliver what they promised. I was working in tandem with them with a brand partner, and the brand partner came back to me, the client came back to me and said, I love what you're doing. You're delivering on what you said you were doing, but your partner is making a lot of promises and not coming through. And, I was very disappointed in that. And, unfortunately, I had to part with that partner and realize that, I need to vet my partners much better. And I did that. Moving forward, I began to vet and network with different people within my circle and talk about, these are the type of partners I'm looking for. And I was very fortunate enough to find a creative partner that I've been with now for 5 years. So I'm very thankful for that, and it was a learning lesson. But again, it's part of my journey, and I'm always learning, and I crave that. I crave learning, and I crave being better than I was the day before.
Right. So it sounds like you've learned a lot over the years, and it's wonderful how you take out time for things that you're passionate about and things that you are really into. Like in your case, it was family and music at the same time. So
Right.
yeah, you were doing it all out there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I really want to put this very sensitively. Have you ever been in a situation where you felt that your race or your color has affected your work?
In my business today, I would say, it's not something that I'm consciously always trying to keep track of, right? I know that it definitely has an effect on, how I approach people or how people perceive me. But the one thing I've realized over my lifetime, I grew up in Canada, and it's a different mindset in Canada versus in the mindset in the United States. And that's from a general perspective, but overall culture is a little bit different in how we treat each other from a cultural standpoint. There's still differences, and there's still prejudice and racism on all sides of the field, minorities to majority and majority to minority. But what I found is that I can't control how people perceive me, right? But what I can do is be the brand and the person that I want to be, and I attract the people that are attracted to that brand and that person, right? And so that's really how I've moved through life as I've learned more about, racial relations and things of that nature. Not that those things are not important; they're very important to me. But if I focus too much on the fact that my color can have a factor in growing my business or being at a business, I think I can lose track of my goals and my mission and my vision to do what I need to do as a business and as a person. I'm a human being first and foremost, and I'm a child of God as well, and so I believe that that's the most important about who I am, not what I look like, how I dress, whatever the case may be. And so that is the most important thing to me. And so I don't really focus on things. And I know, throughout my life, I've dealt with that and dealt with racism or prejudice in different facets, from sports to business to, just day-to-day life. It happens. Just being a minority, it happens. But, how do I handle it? How do I persevere through it? And how do I learn and help other people learn in those situations? And that's the most important thing to me.
I really like your view on this. More power to you, Davaughnu. And I think it's safe to say that you're making a much better place for the coming generations.
Thank you.
Yeah. And would you like to give any advice to the other minority-owned businesses?
Yes. Again, I think it's important to know who you are and understand that there may be setbacks or maybe even prejudice or things of that nature. But I would say focus on your mission and your vision. If your vision incorporates that you want to help minorities, I think that's incredible. And I think that is, make that your mission, make that your vision, if it is. And really hone in on that and make that a part of it. But if it's not a part of your mission or your vision as a business, and you're using that to try and elevate your business versus elevating your business for its true mission and its true vision, then you're losing focus, just like any business, whether it's a majority or a minority. You're losing focus of what you're trying to really do and accomplish as a business. Don't let being a minority hold you back or put you in a situation where that's all you're focusing on, because it can hold you back from, seeing things from a different perspective. And I think the important part is seeing things from everyone's perspective because we misinterpret each other all the time. And I think it's important for us to have conversations, ask questions, and to be thoughtful and considerate and empathetic on both sides of the fence. And I think that's what I would tell, whether you're a minority business or a majority business, how you approach people is extremely important. And I think having an empathetic heart first and foremost, and not to prejudge, will go a lot further for a minority business and a majority business, and helping us understand how to work together and be better business partners and be better people.
I second you on that. That's really thoughtful.
Thank you.
And Davaughnu, I see that you are married and you have two beautiful sons. How old are
Thank
they?
you. I have a 16-year-old and a 14-year-old. They are, junior and or freshmen in high school, and they're doing very well. I'm very proud of them. They're doing well in school and they're doing well in sports, and they just continue to grow. They're very, very big boys. I'm 6'3", and my oldest is 6'6", and my youngest is not far behind at 6'1" about now. So he's getting bigger as time goes on. So I imagine they're both going to be taller than me eventually. But yeah, it's fun watching them grow and go on their own journeys as well, and trying to help them as a parent and support them on their journey.
Wow. And your son is a wonderful basketball player. Does he get it from his father?
Athletically, my wife would probably agree that they get most of their athletics from me. I played basketball in high school, but that wasn't my focus. Soccer and volleyball were my focus in high school. And I played many other sports as well. And so I've always enjoyed sports. I played hockey as well. That's kind of the nature of being in Canada. It's one of those sports that you kind of pick up being in Canada. But yeah, they definitely would say that. But my wife was very successful in sports as well. She played basketball and was very successful, and she played volleyball as well. She's a great athlete. So I would say they get it from both of us, but she would probably lean more on my side, and I would lean on her side in terms of their smarts as well. My wife is a very smart individual, so I would give her that nod on that side of the fence. She's a principal, and so she's a wise, very smart woman, and a very strong woman and powerful woman in her own business, and in our home as well. So I appreciate what she's done in our home as a wife and a partner.
It's lovely to know more about your family, and I think you are carrying forward the perfect balance of both work and sports and all of the other things that are important. So moving on, Davaughnu, what are the 3 things that you would say companies should focus on, in terms of their brand marketing?
The 3 things are my 3 phases that I created when I created Envision Brand Marketing: dream, purpose, and action. Those are the 3 things that I think every brand should focus on, whether you're small, medium, large, whatever the case may be, and always go back to your dream and never waver from it. You can modify it, you can optimize it, but your dream is essentially who you are and what you're all about. And once you discover that and really find that brand identity and really focus on what is my mission, as I said before, what is my vision, what are my values? As you may have heard throughout my conversation, I really have a foundation in terms of the values that I keep for my business and as a person. And I think that's essential for a brand. When you create your brand, it's about you. It's a personal thing. So there's values that you stand by. And if you don't hold to those values, you can lose your way. And, that's why I didn't stick to my guns. And when I had a bad feeling about that partner, I should have addressed that right away. And so now I've learned that lesson, and I think it's essential for business to do that. And then the second part is understanding your why. Simon Sinek, has really coined that phrase, and understanding your why and knowing why you do what you do and what's so unique about your brand. If you don't recognize what's unique about your brand, then why would you expect a customer to be attracted to you as a brand? They can go to anyone else, and then they'll look at you from a value standpoint, or should I say more so a price standpoint, rather than a value perspective. The value comes in your unique identity. The price is just how you value yourself to the customer, and in a monetary sense. But they should have a more objective and subjective view of you from a value standpoint that goes beyond monetary value. And if they don't see a purpose for you or a value for you beyond monetary, then they're always going to look for the best price. And so that is the second piece of it. And then the action part is, once you have that why and you can develop a go-to-market strategy or a plan for your brand to move forward, then you can implement it, and you can find the right people, which I do myself, is find the right specialist to execute. I think the big part of and the fun part of doing things is the action part. Brands love to do the action part. Let me do social media. Let me do the next shiny best thing that there is to do in marketing, because everybody else is doing it. Let me be on TikTok. Even though your brand might not be suited well for TikTok, it's fun to try it, sure. But let's test it in a way that makes sense for your brand if it fits. If it doesn't fit, then you shouldn't be executing and putting that type of tactic into action, right? So let's develop a plan first and action steps, so that those actions are based on the why and the who you are, the dream and the purpose part of your brand. And once that's solidified, then you can implement specific tactics that make sense for your brand and attract the audience that you want to attract.
I completely agree with you on this. And it's really nice seeing how much, thought you've put into your visions. And it's just really inspiring.
Thank you.
Davaughnu, what would you say separates your business from the rest of the companies in the same field? And what's unique about Envision brand marketing?
What's unique about my brand is that I don't focus on the larger umbrella of marketing. I really don't get into trying to be everything to everyone. I have a very specific focus. I liken myself to being a remote CMO, a chief marketing officer, or director of marketing. And I really focus on strategy. And it's something that's missing within the marketing field as far as businesses, especially from a small and medium-sized business, because it kind of gets left to the wayside because people want to immediately act on spending marketing dollars wherever they think it might work, right? And so I'm going to slow the pace down a little bit. And that's hard for some businesses. They don't want to slow down because they want to make money. They want to get revenue going. And I'm going to give you a short-term and a long-term strategy. And I think what's really unique about it is I've broken it down into those very simple steps of dream, purpose, and action. So I believe my uniqueness of having this three-phased approach is what separates me from any other business. Other businesses might have different type of strategical approaches, but I really simplify it so that you understand it and you can eventually empower yourself. I hope that I'm empowering businesses, and I know that I have, because I have evidence of that with the clients that I've worked with, is that I empower them to be marketers themselves and understand who they are and be able to execute and hire people internally if they want to. And then they don't need me. Like, I'm not here to put my hooks into you for a lifetime and continue to just make money off of you. I want you to learn from what I'm doing. That's why I'm a consultant versus an agency or whatever the case may be. And that's what makes me unique. I'm not an agency. I'm a consultant. I want you to learn, and I want you to then, become more empowered to be the brand that you want to be.
That's really nice. And it's like what I took away from what you just said is that you don't overpromise and underdeliver. And
Absolutely.
right. And
Absolutely. I under promise and over deliver.
that's really nice. We want more people like you then. And the best thing about you is that you actually care about your clients enough to make sure that they're learning something from your services. And you just mentioned that you don't want to be, with them forever. You really want them to take away something so that they can carry forward this procedure by themselves the next time. So that's really nice. And
Absolutely.
I think that's the most unique thing I've heard about, a brand marketer. So, or a consultant in this case.
Yes. Thank you. Because that's not the way that agencies are structured. Agencies are structured to try and keep their clients as long as they can, right? And so I've kind of flipped that and reverse that and saying, I don't want to keep you forever. Maybe it's a year, maybe it's 2 years, but eventually you're going to spread your wings and you're going to figure out that there's pieces of this pie that you can do on your own, and you can hire people or, use me sporadically or whatever the case may be, but you're not going to need me forever. And that's okay with me, because then I move to the next brand partner that needs my help. And it's kind of like a doctor and patients, right? And if you ever need me again, you know where to find me, right? So that's, I'm going to make the diagnosis. I'm going to help you with the solution. But I'm going to also give you steps and careers or tools to help yourself. And maybe I should liken myself to more of a trainer, a health trainer. I'm going to give you the tools to work out as a trainer and begin to understand your body and understand how to be stronger and healthier as a human being. Eventually, you won't need me as a trainer, and because you're going to build the knowledge and the wisdom to take care of yourself and make it a part of your lifestyle versus just an exercise routine.
Yeah, so it's like, I'm always going to be here when you need me, but I want you to go ahead and spread your wings. That's amazing.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you, Arisha.
You're welcome, Davaughnu. So, Davaughnu, what are the top few brand strategies that you would advise the audience to never take lightly?
Let me think about that. That's a really good question. To never
Neglect, to never take
never
lightly.
never take lightly. I would say, I would really say, what I focus on is strategy, right? And I think that's one of the steps that I would say not to take lightly. But I would say understanding who you are is so important. And I think people skip over that, and understanding who they are as a brand. They just want to get their business started and move forward and sell, whether it's services or products. And I think we do as companies sometimes take our brands to our brand identities and our brand mission and vision too lightly. And sometimes we just put it on a wall or put it on in a PowerPoint deck and we share it, but we don't really live it. And I think we have to live it. We have to breathe it. It's got to be a part of our DNA as a brand. And if it's not, then people see through that, especially now when you have millennials and Gen Zs coming up. The data shows and the research shows that they really care about companies that care about specific things, whether it be them specifically or a specific initiative. That is very important to consumers and buyers today.
That's right. And you really have to identify yourself first before you put yourself out there for others. Because yeah, if you're doubtful or if you're not sure, it's very easily recognizable, right? So you're right about that. And since you're working independently, how does decision-making process look for you? What helps you to decide what way you want to go?
Yeah, the decision-making process for me, again, goes back to, when I started is, making that mistake and not being able to vet and ask questions. Going back to my early years of trying to figure out my career, remembering that asking questions, asking people who have been here before me, having, different people in the business, answer questions that I may have. I have friends that are owners of dealerships, owners of businesses, and asking them questions about, next steps or things that I should do. I have a great accountant that, I ask him questions. I have people in the legal field within the industry that I've asked questions about. I I think it's so important to ask questions and learn from people. I also do a little bit of research as well. I research online. I do webinars and things of that nature. So I'm always trying to educate myself as much as possible about my industry and about business in general. I think it's essential as a business, especially, you look at COVID right now. If you don't stay on top of who you are as a business, you can't pivot when something major happens in the market, whether it's financially or, like I said, like COVID, where people had to learn how to be online all the time. And, from gyms to grocery stores to restaurants, everyone had to figure out, whether it was curbside service or online classes for gyms. If you didn't evolve to do that prior to, or at least know how to do it when the time came, you struggled, or you completely collapsed. And we saw that over the last 2 years, where businesses actually had to close because they didn't adapt or evolve and optimize their businesses as they started to grow.
You're right. And COVID was like a whole other learning experience for everyone from in all kinds of industries, right? So Davaughnu, would you like to give any advice to the people who are listening, to the founders and small business owners?
Yes, as I said, continue to learn, continue to be on a journey. I don't like the word expert. I like specialist. Even the people that I work with, I call them specialists. I think we're always in a learning phase. Always trying to gain more and more wisdom is my goal, and my personal thing that I always cling to as far as my business and just my personal life is I can always do better than the day before, and not just, mentally or physically, but I can always do better as a human being. And if I can ask questions and learn from others, but also learn from, trying things. Don't be afraid to step out of your box. Yeah. I think that's the scary part is there's people who want to start their own business. There's people who are in their own business and don't want to pivot or don't want to try something new. Don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone is another thing that I would add.
Right. So all the great things happen when you decide to, step out of your comfort zone. So
yes,
they
can. And yeah. No, and bad things can happen too. You could fail at something, or you could realize that that's not the direction you want to go, but it's a learning. You're still learning, right? And you don't have to do it frivolously. You can do it with a strategic approach, which is, again, what I focus on. But don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone, because there could be something on the other side of that really changes the way you think and do your business.
Right. And what if things go south? You actually are learning something out of that. And of course, you won't be making the same mistake again. Right. So that's
right.
Those
Hopefully.
yeah. Thank you for that, Davaughnu. And we have our final questions now, starting with this one. How do you define success?
How do I define success? Oh, such a subjective word. That's a great question as well. I define success as developing short and long-term goals and giving yourself the opportunity to achieve or even come close to those goals, meaning you may fail, but learning from those and continuing to move forward, become better than you were the day before.
That's really nice. Thank you for that.
You're
And to the final question, are there any other ventures that you're currently working on? Would you like to share something about that?
Yeah, I'm actually working on an extension or a subsidiary to the Envision Brand Marketing using dream, purpose, and action. And so I'm really focused, and I've always enjoyed helping youth. High school, college. I've done a few speaking engagements. I've mentored young men and women in high school, and so I really want to inspire them to find their dream and bring purpose and action to it. And so I'm taking that trademarked approach of dream, purpose, and action and instilling that into merch and hoping that it allows youth to see that there are other people who have dreams or purposes or actions that they want to follow through on, and finding commonalities between each other. A lot of things that are happening in our world today where people are being segregated or pushed away from each other, this could bring people together to inspire each other to move forward. But also I want to inspire them to follow the same approach that a business would. What do you enjoy doing as a person right now? Like, it's okay to follow something right now, and if it doesn't work out, then you realize that that's not really what you want to do. So what do you envision or vision yourself doing right now, and let's follow through on that. And if you're a college student, I had a college student ask me, what if I'm getting ready to graduate, what if I start a job and I fail, right? What if you do? How old are you? 22?
Yeah,
What if you fail? Then you can continue move forward and find something that actually does fit your personality and your dream as a person, but you just found out that that isn't something that you want to do. If you never went in that direction, you would never realize that that wasn't something that you wanted to do, and you would have always second guessed yourself of, what if I would have done this? What if I would have done that? And you don't want to do that. You want to move through life with as minimal amount of regrets as possible. But you want to do it with a strategic approach. Graduate, pursue a certain career. If you find that career doesn't fit what you wanted to do, then you move in a different direction, but stick to your gifts. We're all given gifts, right? Unique gifts. We all have a unique brand in ourselves. We all have a unique DNA within ourselves that we're capable of doing better than anyone else. And so once you really hone in on that and find that that's what you do really well, then I think people are going to be attracted to you for that gift, right? Or those gifts. And so that's my goal is to take this brand, this merch, and have people realize that, speak to young youth and help them realize that you have special gifts.
Thank you for that, Davaughnu. And we have the final question for today, which is, what qualities helped you the most to become the Davaughnu that you are today?
Yes, the qualities that have helped me become who I am today, have evolved. Again, being on this journey, I've discovered my gifts, right, and realized what I'm better at in certain ways than others, right? And so learning from my mistakes, asking questions, and really being willing to again step out of my comfort zone and do things that I may be nervous about or insecure about to start or to go in that direction, but going forward with it and realizing that, hey, I can accomplish this, and I've been able to do that consistently sometimes, but not always. And so always looking to improve is what's really helped me become the person that I am today. And beyond that, again, I go back to my faith that it goes without saying, God is really keeps me centered, and he's the reason that I'm here today, and the reason that I've been successful in what I'm doing, and I know that he has a path and a journey for me, and as long as I kind of settle myself and make wise decisions and focus on what his design was for me, then I think I will be continually successful at helping and encouraging others to be the best that they can be. And that's really what ultimately I want to do, is have a legacy that people remember, that when I'm with them or when I've been with them, that I've helped them be the best that they can be, and do the things that they've been gifted with with excellence.
That's really nice, and it's always wonderful to talk to someone who's as humble and grounded as you are. It has been really wonderful speaking to you. So,
Thank you.
yes, Davaughnu, you're most welcome. And any further plans you have for 2022?
2022, just continuing to evolve as a business. Again, focusing on, really pushing and launching the Dream Purpose Action and getting the brand out there to the youth, speaking more speaking engagements at schools, or in whatever form that becomes available through my network. But yeah, that's really my goals for 2022. And I think that's important as a business, is to have those goals written down. I was just talking to someone who is probably a little bit more organized in terms of being intentional. Another business partner, again, learning from them about their writing down their business goals. I'm a thinker, so a lot of my thoughts don't always end up on paper. They end up, I think them and act through them, but I do it with a strategic mindset. So yeah, I think in 2022 I'll be more intentional about writing down a lot more of my specific goals as well. And the one piece of advice I forgot when you asked that question earlier about one things that young business starters should focus on is having a plan. I think is important, having a business plan. And that's the one thing I did do, is write down my business plan and develop my vision, my goals, and things of that nature. So it's not that I don't write things down, but they're those small things that sometimes I feel I don't have to write down just because I'm where I'm at. And I think it's important to write them down. And again, a business partner that I was just meeting with reminded me of that. And so that's something that I definitely want to do in 2022.
That's wonderful. And I wish you good luck. And I'm really sure that you are going to pour the same excellence you're doing in your everyday work in your upcoming projects. So very good luck with that. And it was wonderful talking to you. Thank you so much for taking out the time, Davaughnu. I'm sure that the audience has a lot to take away from this podcast today.
Thank you so much, Narisha, and thank you for the interview. It was excellent, and I wish you all the best, and Perfect Sprout as well.
Thank you. That means a lot. Thank you, Davaughnu.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.